honor God. If you love, you will not harm others. So it becomes easier for one to keep the commandment if the driving force is love. And that's why the Bible says, love your God as yourself. And the Bible says, this is the basis. The Israelites developed this into a great theme which became their rallying call and their call to worship, and they called it Shema. Shema in Hebrew is those words you announce so that people know who you are worshiping, like the way the Muslim say aloud, Allahu Akbar. So the Jews used to cry aloud in their language and say, the Lord our God is one. I shall love my God with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my might, and I will also love my neighbors. So they were reminded, as you get into the promised land, the way to go is the way of love. The way to thrive is through love, where you can all care for one another. For love is not the word that we say, it is the action that accompany the care giving, the protection, the caring about today and tomorrow, how we bring up our children. And the Bible says, when you have cared enough, then these words must be taught to generations to come. Your children, put them on the wrist of their hands, put in their foreheads, talk to them when they go out, even when you are far away, talk about it. When you come in, when you lie down, when you rise up, fix on the doorsteps and put it in your gates so that people will know what God's teaching are all about. Chapter 8 of Deuteronomy, from verse 11, now he began to prepare a nation that was coming out of slavery, a nation that has never owned property, a nation that has never known freedom, a nation that has never known to manage their own public affairs. And he is now warning them that when you go to that land, be careful not to forget your God. And because, Your Excellency, we have finished the first part of our service, including this reading. It has been read to people, but let me read now that you are here, so that we hear what the Bible is telling us. Verse 11. Take care that you do not forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandments, his ordinances, and his statutes. When I am commanding you today, which I am commanding you today, when you have eaten your fill, and have built fine houses, and lived in them, and when your herds and your flock have multiplied, and your silver and your gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then do not exalt yourself, forgetting the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness, and aided you through the arid wastelands with poisonous snakes and scorpions. He made water for you from a flint rock, and fed you with manna in the wilderness. And your ancestors, humble yourself, so that you do not exalt yourself and say, my power and my might, or my own hands have gotten me this wealth and where I am. But remember the Lord your God. It is he who gives you power to get wealth, and it is he who enables you to confirm his covenant with you. What the word is asking us today is, in the moment we have, because we are all passing by, let us follow his commandments. Let us work hard knowing it is the Lord who has given us what we have. It is the Lord who has walked the diocese of Eldoret these 40 years. Whatever bishop you have, whatever has been created, whatever imagination has been, let our hearts never rise and think it is us who made it. If we send our minds back to the very beginnings of this diocese, when Bishop Alexander Kipsang Muge, the Lord rest his soul, began it, It covered the whole area up to Lodwar and Lokichogyo, all the way to West Pokot, what is Nelore now, in Kitale, and Uasin Gishu and Nandi. The diocese did not have resources, but he had a great vision and great imaginations. When we read his history, he laid the first foundations of establishing churches, but also creating space for the church to thrive and grow. He bought a piece of land, which now the Diocese of Kitale has, Bishop Muge. He was given the area now where we were in Kimalel, Pioneer, and he had imagination to grow a diocese with resources and where churches can thrive and grow. He did not live to accomplish, but he planted the seeds. Where Bishop Kawasis, when he came, for 17 years, he built on the foundations laid by the late Bishop Muge. Those foundations became stronger, and when Bishop Kogo came, he established on them. And now, Bishop Ruto, you are carrying on. Through that history, what we have seen is a diocese that has grown from one stride to another. You gave birth first to Kitale. Kitale gave birth to Kapenguria Diocese, and now Lodwar has also been set aside to become a diocese. And recently, Kapsabet also became a diocese. If we put together all that development of churches and the number of Christians and the multiplication that has happened, we can only say it is the Lord who has done it. The imagination of Bishop Alexander was not only in evangelism and creating churches. He also came with a robust social